You're listening to The White Rabbit, conversations on the art of presenting in a rather noisy world. Your hosts are Matt Krause and Alper Rozanes. Matt helps leaders of international companies speak, write, and present with confidence. Alper is an author, communications trainer, and a startup investor with a diverse portfolio of companies in Barcelona. If you like this podcast, please share with your friends and colleagues. Now, on to Matt and Alper for today's conversation.
So Alper,
Hey, Matt.
I was thinking for today, let's do a lightning round. The three mistakes that we see people making the most often, the three most common offenders. And since there'll be three from Matt and three from Alper, so that's 6 total. So in order for this podcast to not go for like 3 or 4 hours, we're going to have to place a severe time limit on ourselves. And that's the name lightning round.
Okay.
And so for each point, I figure we have max 2.5 minutes. And at that 2.5 minute mark, the other person is going to have to go, and then at that point, ideally, we would just shut up and let the other person do their next point. But if we need more time,
that doesn't happen very rarely, does it?
Yeah, that doesn't happen very much at all. So if when you hear the or the buzz, if you need more time, max 30 seconds. But after that 30 seconds, you totally got to shut up and let the other person do their point. Does that sound okay to you?
Sounds good. Sounds good like the Toastmasters table topic speeches.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, this is the Matt and Alper's 6 things in table topics format.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's do that.
So
you want to start?
Yeah, you want me to start? Okay. So you got your timer?
Yes. So I'll start timing it.
Okay. Here we go. Okay. So my first thing is that I see people using their jargon a lot in their presentation. That's probably the most common mistake that I see. And the key word in here is their jargon. You know, it's perfectly okay to use the jargon of your audience. Like, for example, in my world, I deal with a lot of software developers. And let's say they're developing some software for customer service. Bad is using software developer jargon. It's okay to use customer service jargon if you know customer service jargon. But if you're using the jargon that you would use as a software developer, then you have a problem. So that's my first thing. Am I in under the 2.5 minute time limit? Yeah, that's it.
Man, you rock at this. Yeah, you rock at this. Okay. You've spoken only for 1 minute.
Wow.
So I'm going to borrow your remaining a minute and a half.
I yield my extra time. So what's your first one?
Thank you. Because my first one is one of my pet peeves, the saying that, fake it till you make it.
Oh.
And I have seen this literally put into practice so many times, and I'm sure it has worked in a lot of cases for so many people. So God bless their souls. But when it doesn't work, it becomes excruciatingly painful to watch someone faking it on the stage till they make it. And that never happens. And that will never happen. They will never make it on the stage if they're faking it so much. So that's my first pet peeve, and I hide. And there's a cure for that. It's called rehearsal. It's called setting the time before the presentation, before the engagement, taking the time to actually go over what you're going to talk about, and structure it in such a way that you don't actually have to fake it. You just need to stick to the agenda that you think will be the best. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to ace the presentation. You can make mistakes. You can you can miss certain points, but that's okay. That's all learning for the next engagements. So yeah, I'm going to stay in time. I'm not going to speak on borrowed time, and I'm going to declare that. My first one is instead of faking it until making it, how about putting the time to rehearse, to practice, and do your best, and then see what happens.
Wow, good point. Okay, should I go with my point number 2?
Your time starts now.
All right. So point number 2 is burying the lead. And this is a phrase that comes from the newspaper world or the magazine writing world. And burying the lead basically just means taking the most important thing and putting it at the end. And especially this is, and in a presentation environment, often by lead, it's the ask. What do I need from you? I need more budget, or I need more people. I need more resources of some sort. What do I need from you? I need more time, whatever. And so bearing the lead is putting what you need, putting the ask at the very end. So, and this is especially dangerous if you have a calming voice, which, by nature, in my section of the world, I work with a lot of software developers and also financial people. And those two professions, which is basically engineering and financial, requires calming personalities. And so you put a calming personality bearing the lead, and the result is that if you have a calming personality bearing the lead, then they're going to put people to sleep before they get to the ask. So I suggest putting the ask at the front. And that's my second point.
Man, you don't give me the option. You don't give me the opportunity to go crazy about the time warning.
Oh,
maybe
wow.
For the third one. Okay. A little less than 2 minutes.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Uh-huh.
So that takes me to my second one.
Okay.
Which is either leaning too much on the emotional appeal or the rational appeal when the time comes to speak to people. Because for a very long time, presentations, I believe, for a very long time, the presentations were just about informing the audiences. So here is the data, here are the facts, here is the information. And they were missing one point crucially, which is, although we'd like to think that we're rational human beings who act on logic and etc., almost all the time we take the decisions on an emotional level.
Okay.
And when this became the fashionable way to go, maybe 10, 15 years ago, so suddenly people started feeling like, okay, I have to incorporate something emotional to it. And sometimes they would overdo it. And this I think we talked about this before. Putting stories into your narrative became the norm for a very long time. And now everybody started telling stories. Yes, but at the end of the day, the story, of course, should serve a purpose. I mean,
true.
Just because you need to connect with me on an emotional level doesn't mean I want to hear about what happened to you 25 years ago and how you're traumatized by that. So yeah, I think the most important thing is to create the right balance between the emotional appeal and the rational appeal, independent from whatever topic you're talking about. So if you're talking about quarterly results of a financial institution, I'm sure you can find some ways to incorporate some emotional appeal into your speech. And if you're talking about saving dolphins from an endangered ecosystem, I think you can incorporate some rational element into that. So the important thing would be to strike a nice balance between those two.
Okay.
With that, I'm going to end the second one.
Wow, that's so. So we've gone through.
No warning so far.
Yeah, 4 points, 2 for me and 2 for you, and no warning so far.
Yeah.
And even that last one that you did still came in at only 2 minutes. So I think we might, if we're lucky, we're going to get through this whole thing without having to, hit the buzzer. All right. So are you ready for point number 3 from me?
Go.
Okay. One. And it's kind of funny in this lightning round format. My third thing is people going over time. Let's say that their time limit is 15 minutes or 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever. So they go over time. And there are many problems with going over time. It's, no one ever complained about getting out of school early. So there are many problems, but the main cause of that, the main cause that I see is the thinking that everything that's important to you needs to go into the presentation. And so you see people saying, oh, well, I've got to mention this and I've got to mention that and I've got to mention that. And so pretty soon they're mentioning 9 million different things because 9 million things are important to them. And it's absolutely true that those things are important. And it's absolutely true that they're important to you as the speaker, or they're important to you, the speaker. However, maybe they're not important to your presentation. Maybe they're not important to your audience. And if they're not important to your presentation, and if they're not important to your audience, then don't mention them. It doesn't matter if it's the most important thing to you that ever existed, it doesn't need to go into your presentation. And that's the most common thing that I see that causes presentations to drive over the time limit, is people thinking that a bunch of stuff needs to be in there just because it's important to them. So how did I do? Did I come in under my time limit on that one?
I was really hoping you would go over time with that one. And that would be ironic talking about going over the time and hitting the buzzer, actually.
Of all my 3 points, that's
3 and 3. Congratulations.
Yeah, of all my 3 points, that's definitely the one that I didn't want to hear a buzzer on. So maybe we gave ourselves too much time to begin with. Maybe what's your third point?
My third one is using multiple speakers for a very short presentation, and I see this usually in the investor pitches when startups talk about their projects.
Okay.
Usually, the CEO of the company or the founder of the company starts by explaining the project, what the problem was, what the solution is, and then, like 1/3 of the way into the presentation, he or she says, "So this is the product, and to talk about that, I would like to invite our, chief operating officer or something like that to the stage." And there is this whole confusion between how do they take the stage, and there is the issue of transition and everything. And then towards the end of it, sometimes they can say something like, "Well, to tell you how we're going to spend the investment, we would like to invite this third person, which is the finance director or something like that, to talk to you about." And then there is yet another commotion. And all of this is happening during a 3, 4, or 5-minute presentation, 5-minute pitch. So it's too much.
Okay.
I strongly recommend, instead of, first of all, I strongly recommend getting away from the idea that, well, we're a 3-person team, so everybody should take the stage. No, there are so many successful presentations which are done by one person, which is usually the CEO or the main founder of the project. Of course, in the team, if there's a person who is better suited to talk in front of the public or to express themselves, put them on the stage. Of course, that's also doable. But at the end of the day, I think it's also important for the founder or the CEO of the project to get more comfortable and efficient on the stage. It's not obligatory for all members of the team to take up the stage, especially in a short minute, in a short period of time. With that, I'm going to end and will not give you the pleasure of buzzing me out of the stage.
Well, I was thinking, because we were almost there. We were in like 15 seconds of getting there. And I thought, man, if Alper just keeps talking for 15 more seconds, then I'm finally going to get to break out my buzzing sound. But I didn't even get to do that.
Not this time, my friend.
Man.
Not this time.
Okay. Well, we got through our 6 points. And so these are basically 6 points. Hit these 6 points. Make sure you avoid making these 6 mistakes. And your presentations will be a lot better just by avoiding these 6 simple things. And with that, I guess we'll wrap it up. And we will see you next week then. Thank you, Alper.
Good talking to you as always.
Yeah, good talking to you. I'll talk to you later.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to The White Rabbit with Matt Krause and Alper Rozanes. You can subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, or through your favorite feed.